Geoff, it is really great to have you down here at 13th Beach, and of course your mum and dad live near here, don't they?
They lived on site here for until this year. They just moved back into Geelong. But yeah, so I've spent a fair bit of time here. Haven't played it as much, weirdly enough, because it was always vacation time, right? But yeah, it's nice to be here.
Are you staying with your mum and dad this week?
I'm up and back a little bit. I'm going back tonight. The kids, we've just moved and they're starting new schools and stuff, so I kind of want to be home, like drop them off to school in the morning and I come down and play, and then I'll stay from tomorrow night. So I'm off at 1 o'clock tomorrow, so that's pretty cruisy. And I'll stay at mum and dad's, for sure.
I knew that it was always on yours and Julie's agenda to eventually move back, and this is the year that you've decided to come back and put the kids in school, the three of them, and how's it all going?
Good, yeah. I mean, I had a great time over there. I just missed home, mostly. Got to the point, and one of those kind of, our eldest was going into year 7 this year here, so that's one of those kind of benchmark kind of times. It would have got harder and harder academically and with friends and stuff, I guess, much later, so it was kind of a neat time. I kind of am at the point where I'm not really wanting to be a 25 at tournament a year guy at the moment, at least. I mean, it might come back to that, but I kind of wanted to have a couple of lean years as far as schedule and just be a dad for a while and do the drop-offs and the football practices and all that sort of stuff. So that was just the timing all kind of lined up, and I've always wanted to be back here, so I'm pretty excited. We are excited, I should say.
Well, that's exactly right. Any questions from the floor? Russell? Thank you.
Geoff, have you settled on what your golfing ambitions are now that you've actually planted your roots back at home and got the kids into school? Have you sorted that out? Do you have a definitive idea?
No clue, really. I want to play better than I've ever played. I've still got an itch to scratch. There's a golf feeling in me that I haven't felt properly, consistently. Does that make sense? I know there's better golf in there. Whether it translates into better scores and winning tournaments, it's not really about that. I just want it to feel great. I want it to feel like I know it can feel. Does that make sense? Yeah. What form that takes in tournaments, as I said, there's probably at least a lean year at least in me I was travelling the last kind of couple of years. I was an amateur pretty extensively. It's been 20 so years of suitcase stuff. I just kind of want to not do that. Play this stuff too. Like, you miss out on stuff like this, and it's a great place to get stuck. But like the PGA Tour, like, it's not as stuck, but you get in that bubble and you really don't. There's no motivation to leave. It's massive prize money every week. It's only an hour away over there. It's not 24 hours. There's no the tax complications and all the passports and all that. It's quite simple, and you get into that thing, and it's hard to get out of it in a way. Not that you really want to get out of it, but you know what I mean? And the Vic Open's been coming along great, and the great tournaments like the Dunhill Links, and there's brilliant tournaments everywhere in the world, and you kind of, now I've got a chance to maybe do some of that stuff while basing here and stuff. So what the ambition is, I don't know, but there's good golf in me and I want to play it. As I said, what form that takes, I don't know.
What about making the adjustments to make that happen now that you're back home? Have you settled into, a practice plan and where you're going to play, where you're going to go hit balls, or are you just going back to Victoria or whatever? Or have you settled into how that works yet?
I'm certainly not going to be hitting balls at Victoria. That's a bit of a thing with me. The balls on the range are just not usable, which is disappointing. I'll work something. Obviously, I'm a member at Vic forever, and they're about to reopen the course. They've redone the greens, and it's pretty exciting at Vic. So it's a good time for that. I'm sure I'll do a lot of Thursday comps, a lot of Saturday comps, Friday afternoon rounds. But the practice, I don't know where I'll do that. I mean, this new Golf Australia setup at Sandringham, what shape that ends up taking, that's going to be 300 yards from my house. So I imagine that will play a big role once that gets built. And just a roundabouts, we have pretty good access to the golf courses in Melbourne, and I want to play a lot more golf and not hit so many balls. So that's relatively easy to work out, just playing a lot of golf. So, yeah.
Geoff, I think I heard one of your podcasts. I think it was the Fried Egg. You were giving this tournament a real rap. Just take us through how unique this event is and the success that it's become, and why it's sort of a bit of a joy to be a part of.
Well, the guys and girls thing just makes sense. Why it hasn't happened? Well, I know that we've dabbled at it, and historically, right? There was that 3 tours thing for a while. The Wendy's, they had the seniors and the normal tour, and the girls played like a 3-way team thing. That was a pretty. But this 2 real golf tournaments played at the same time on the same side, like the Australian Open tennis is kind of like, it makes sense, right? You need 36 holes to do it, I guess. So I wanted to be part of that. Equal money on both sides, spectators on the fairways. You come into these rural-ish community, not rural, but rural relative to Melbourne, communities that always embrace tournaments. They're always the great venues, as the ones in smaller communities, because everybody jumps in and everybody volunteers, and you usually get a feel whether a tournament is good because people come back, the guys come back in the locker room the next week or the week down, and everybody has just been praising on this for the last 4 or 5 years. It's getting better every year. You've got to come if you get a chance. It's a great tournament. Vic Open's great. Vic Open's great. That's all you've been hearing in the locker room. So I wanted to. I'm glad that I had an opportunity, and I was never going to miss that opportunity now being here to do that. So I think it's hopefully setting a pretty good trend with some of the stuff they're doing. And as I said, the people on the fairways, the guys and girls at the same tournament, alternating groups, cool venue, interesting venue, 2 different courses. That's great. I just think they're ticking every box of what you really need. They're just running a quality event, and the field is getting better every year because of that, because everyone leaves and says it's a great tournament.
And where do you sit on I know this is a very complex question, the broader issue of the Australian tournaments around this time of the year? Could the Open and the PGA be played here or not? Some say yes, some say no.
Well, you can play them whenever you want. Whenever you can fit them in. When it works best, you're going against big tournaments around the world every week except Christmas and the week after, pretty much. So, like, you kind of, I would think the January, February kind of deal for Australian sport, we're more ready to be watching sport, I think. Especially in Melbourne, it seems like that January, and all of a sudden, all right, Christmas is over, where's the sport, where's the cricket, where's the tennis, where's the horse racing's over, The US Tour is getting started, but it isn't getting started anymore, is it? It's 24 minutes, 24/7 now. I don't know, I think you could easily run them now, for sure. And this is proving it. This is a bigger tournament than the Australian Open right now, by a long way. So, maybe not in prestige, but in every other factor, every other measure. So clearly it can work. If you all of a sudden you can get 3 or 4 in a row, you build, right? The LPGA field is going to be a good one because they play next week too, and that really helps. If you have our tournaments towards the end of the year, sometimes can be a bit isolated, maybe separated by the World Cup or something. And it's a long way away from the east coast of the US, all the way down to Australia for a 1 week, 48% withholding tax, a ton of deal, right? So I think you can make any date work. I do. I really do. If you run a good event, people will come.
What about your expectations for this week? I mean, have you been doing more school drop-offs than hitting golf balls, or where's the game at?
The game feels pretty good. It's like I haven't had a scorecard in the pocket for a while, so that's the thing. It was really rough the first 6 or 7 holes this morning. I didn't know where it was going, but I didn't panic because I like how I'm swinging it, and I kind of feel like I just had to kind of calibrate. And by the end I was hitting it really nicely, so if that would have translated into good scores, I'm not sure, but it feels decent. I think if I can get into it's getting into the tournament, and then you all of a sudden remember, if you can get through those first 9, the first 18, get into the weekend, then I think good things will happen if I'm playing nicely, because you don't forget how to do it. Physically, there's no reason why I can't play well. This is just see how it adds up. I'm hitting it pretty well.
Your magazine column before the Australian Open obviously was, it played out pretty well, didn't it? Like, it had a lot of airplay, I should say. With having had a first taste of this now, could you see the Australian Open working like this?
I don't see why it couldn't. It'd be the men and the women at the same time, 36-hole venue. I don't see why not. It only adds to each tournament. if you want to each side. The guys' tournament certainly helps the girls' tournament, and I think the girls' side helps our tournament because you get the fans that would only go watch one side of things. Now they go watch both sides of things. And it works in other sports. It's brilliant, right? I mean, tennis always works, men and women at the same tournament. I mean, the Olympics has got everybody. Like, I mean, I don't know. Why not? Like, and as I said, the sum of the parts would be greater than the individual things, I would think. So, which certainly is the case here. The Victorian Open is a relevant tournament in the world this week. People are noticing because of the equal prize money and the LPGA and the guys thing. That's a big deal, right? And we would have the same effect if it was the Australian Open.
Is it important for us to jump first if we do? Not let someone else grab the idea and run past us?
We've already done it first. We got it first.
The national championship?
Well, that's up to Golf Australia, really. I mean, I don't think if it's a better way to do it, or if it's a good way to do it in complement to the traditional way to do it, certainly it'll work other places. I don't think it matters who does it first. I mean, I don't think it's a race to the successful format. I don't think if someone else did it first, it wouldn't mean it wouldn't work in Australia. I think the more of these that happen, I think there's probably more chance it would work in more places. Oh, we want a tournament like that. We want a tournament like that, you know? I don't know, it's just a good idea.
Are they doing it anywhere else?
I don't think so. This is a world first, I think. Well, they've been doing it for a few years here, but especially the equal money and the full European LPGA Tour, like this is a big tournament in that sense, a pioneering kind of tournament.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, thank you, and thanks for coming in for Geoff.
No worries. Yeah.